Admiral Kral'Vox stretched his 4 arms and gazed through the panoramic viewport of Starbase Command. The swirling nebula outside cast purple shadows across his gray-green skin as he sipped his morning stimulant. 43 stellar cycles of peace had made his job predictable, boring even. The Galactic Confederation hadn't faced a real threat since the hive mind incursion of 2781. Another glorious day of absolutely nothing happening, he muttered to his assistant, Laurie Breen, a blue-skinned Proximan with a talent for organization and an unfortunate addiction to sweet pastries. "You say that like it's a bad thing, sir," Laurie replied, sliding a data tablet toward him. "The trade negotiations with the Plex Consortium are proceeding according to," the emergency klaxon cut her off. Red lights pulsed across the command center as officers scrambled to their stations. "What in the 7 moons is happening?" Kral'Vox barked, stimulant forgotten. Commander Renner, his security chief, rushed over. "Unknown vessel, sir. It just appeared at the edge of Sector 9. No warp signature, no quantum distortion. It just showed up. Species identification? That's the thing, sir. We've never seen anything like it. Our databases have no record of this design." Kral'Vox frowned. "Show me." The main screen flickered to life, displaying a sleek, dark vessel. Unlike the elegant curves of Confederation ships, this one was all hard angles and intimidating protrusions. Weapon systems dotted its hull like angry blisters. Intelligence Officer Pax Morgan, a lanky human-adjacent terrify, approached with another tablet. "Sir, we've intercepted communications. They call themselves humans from a planet called Earth. Apparently, this is their first venture beyond their solar system." Kral'Vox snorted. "One ship? Their first interstellar journey, and they send one ship into Confederation space? Either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid." "Sir," interjected, "they're ignoring our hails." "What do they call that monstrosity?" Pax consulted his notes. "The Thunderchild, sir." Laughter rippled through the command center. Even Kral'Vox smiled. "Well, their naming conventions lack subtlety. Send 30 ships from the 5th Fleet to greet our visitors. A standard welcome formation should suffice, intimidating but not openly hostile." "Yes, sir." 20 minutes later, the command center fell silent as they watched the feed. The Thunderchild, surrounded by 30 of the Confederation's finest warships, continued forward like a predator unimpressed by prey. "They're being hailed again, sir." "And?" No response. Then it happened. The Thunderchild's hull shimmered with what looked like heat distortion. No energy weapons fired. No missiles launched. Yet 3 Confederation ships simply disintegrated. 7 more followed in rapid succession. What in the name of, Kral'Vox couldn't finish. The remaining 20 ships broke formation, attempting evasive maneuvers. It didn't matter. Within minutes, the entire welcome party was reduced to expanding clouds of debris. The Thunderchild proceeded forward, unharmed and unhurried. Kral'Vox felt the blood drain from his face as he slumped into his command chair. "By the cosmic creator," he whispered. "What have we awakened? Only one ship? Part 2, panic spreads. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hadn't been this packed in centuries. Representatives from 200 species filled the tiered seating, their anxious murmurs creating a symphony of fear. Emergency lighting cast an ominous red glow over the proceedings. Admiral Kral'Vox stood at attention, his uniform still wrinkled from the hasty summons. 3 hours had passed since the Thunderchild had obliterated their welcome fleet. 3 hours of escalating panic. "Order. We will have order," boomed Council President Zanbero, his tentacles slapping the podium for emphasis. The chamber gradually quieted. "We face an unprecedented situation. Intelligence Officer Mira Talzin has compiled an emergency report on these Humans. Mira stepped forward, her copper skin contrasting with her silver uniform. Unlike most Confederation species, Mira's people, the Lorati, had specialized in information gathering rather than diplomacy or trade. Counselors, in the past 3 hours, we've managed to intercept and decrypt a significant portion of the Thunderchild's database, she began, her voice steady despite the circumstances. What we've discovered is disturbing. The main display activated, showing images that made several council members gasp. Humans have spent approximately 5,000 years of their recorded history engaged in various forms of warfare against each other. Their weapons development has followed a trajectory we find almost incomprehensible. Images flashed across the screen, primitive humans with spears, then swords, then increasingly devastating weapons. While the Confederation evolved toward peaceful cooperation, humans evolved through conflict. They have weapons we cannot even classify. And this, she gestured to an image of the Thunderchild, is merely what they classify as a mid-sized exploration vessel with defensive capabilities. Their actual warships are considerably larger. A Viridian counselor fainted. 2 others began loudly praying. "We must surrender immediately," shouted Representative June Malik of the Tauran Alliance. "Before they send their actual fleet." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some representatives screamed for immediate surrender, others for a massive military response. Kral'Vox stepped to the podium, his voice cutting through the noise. "Enough. We are the Galactic Confederation, not frightened hatchlings. We must establish diplomatic contact. This ship has not fired upon any civilian targets or stations. Their actions, while concerning, have been purely defensive." Defensive? "They vaporized 30 ships," someone shouted. "After we surrounded them with warships," Kral'Vox countered. "We have time to establish communication before," an aide rushed in, whispering urgently to President Barrow. The president's face turned ashen. "What's happened?" Mira demanded. Barrow looked up, horrified. "The Kraxis faction. They've taken matters into their own hands. They've launched an attack on what they believed were human colony outposts near the Perseus Arm." Kral'Vox felt his heart sink. "And?" Mira's tablet pinged with an alert. She read it, then looked up, her eyes wide with terror. The attack failed. Completely. And now? Now there are hundreds of human ships mobilizing throughout the sector. #only one ship? Part 3, Understanding the Enemy, "This is insanity," Admiral Kral'Vox muttered as he and Mira Talzin huddled inside the cramped communication relay station. They had slipped away from Starbase Command under the pretense of inspecting defense protocols. In reality, they were committing what some might consider treason. Establishing unauthorized contact with the enemy is indeed unorthodox, Mira agreed, her fingers dancing across the secure terminal. But letting the Confederation blunder into galactic annihilation seems worse. The screen flickered before stabilizing on the image of a human. He had dark skin, short cropped hair, and eyes that seemed to evaluate everything with military precision. "I'm Captain Jackson Steele of the Earth vessel Thunderchild," he stated without preamble. "I was beginning to think no one in your Confederation had the sense to actually talk to us." Kral'Vox blinked in surprise. The human's directness was jarring. "Captain, I am Admiral Kral'Vox. This is Intelligence Officer Mira Talzin. We are not here in official capacity, but," "Cut the bureaucratic garbage," Steele interrupted. "Your people attacked our outlying research stations. Thankfully, no casualties. But you're about 6 minutes from having every human warship in this sector dropping out of FTL with weapons hot. Talk fast." Mira leaned forward. The attack was unauthorized. A rogue faction acting against direct orders. "Right," Steele drawled, skepticism evident. "And I suppose those 30 ships that surrounded us were just saying hello?" "Actually. Yes," Kral'Vox admitted. It's standard protocol. A show of strength to establish diplomatic relations. Steele laughed, a harsh barking sound. You folks have weird customs. On Earth, surrounding someone with guns isn't how we start friendly conversations. We're beginning to understand that, Mira said. Your species' history of conflict is different from ours. We don't want war, Admiral, Steele said, his tone softening slightly. But we demand respect and recognition. Earth has encountered enough hostile aliens to be cautious. Enough hostile, Kral'Vox sputtered. You mean we're not the first? Steele's expression turned grim. Let's just say the Thunderchild didn't get those weapons for decoration. As they talked, Kral'Vox began to understand. What the Confederation perceived as aggression was simply human caution. Their direct communication style, their military readiness, these weren't signs of hostile intent but cultural differences. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent alert on Mira's tablet. Admiral, she whispered, the Kraxus faction has hijacked 3 antimatter warheads from Outpost 7. They're planning another strike against the human fleet. Kral'Vox felt his blood freeze. Captain Steele, we already detected the weapons being moved, Steele cut in, his face hardening. Our intelligence suggests this is Confederation sanctioned. Our diplomatic window is closing, Admiral. The Armada is moving into attack position. No. It's not sanctioned. We need more time time's up. Earth Defense Fleet is deploying. Steele out. The screen went dark. Mira looked at Kral'Vox, terror in her eyes. What now? Kral'Vox stood, straightening his uniform. There's only one option left. It's desperate, probably suicidal, but it's all we have. Only one ship? Part 4, Resolution. Admiral Kral'Vox stood alone in the small shuttle, his 4 hands trembling slightly as he piloted toward the Thunderchild. No Confederation officer had ever attempted something so reckless. Behind him, the Confederation fleet had assembled in defensive formation. Ahead, the human armada had appeared as if from nowhere, hundreds of ships, each bristling with incomprehensible weapons. This is Admiral Kral'Vox requesting permission to board, he transmitted, his voice steadier than he felt. A tense 30 seconds passed before a response came. Permission granted. Docking Bay 3. Come alone or don't come at all. The shuttle bay of the Thunderchild was surprisingly austere. Armed guards escorted him to the bridge, where Captain Steele waited, looking even more imposing in person. You've got guts, Admiral. I'll give you that, Steele said, dismissing the guards with a nod. Captain, we're on the brink of a catastrophic misunderstanding, Kral'Vox began. The Kraxus faction is a splinter group, acting against Confederation orders. They believe they're protecting our civilization, but they're going to destroy it. I need you to believe me when I say the Confederation does not want war. Steele maintained his stern expression for a moment longer before, to Kral'Vox's shock, he burst into laughter. Admiral, our intelligence division figured that out about 6 hours ago. We've been tracking your Kraxus friends since they stole those warheads. You knew? Kral'Vox sputtered. Then why mobilize your fleet? Why push us to the edge of war? Steele smiled, but this time it reached his eyes. 2 reasons. First, we needed to know if anyone in your leadership had the courage to reach out directly. Second, nothing motivates a bureaucracy like the threat of annihilation. This was a test. We call it aggressive diplomacy. Sometimes humans appear belligerent when we're actually extending a hand, we're just making sure that hand won't get bitten off. Over the next hour, they formulated a plan. 3 hours later, a joint human Confederation strike team neutralized the Kraxus faction's base. Kral'Vox watched in awe as human soldiers moved with precision and efficiency that made the Confederation's elite forces look like bumbling amateurs. 1 week later, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council witnessed something unprecedented, the signing of a peace treaty with humans as special military advisors to the Confederation. "The galaxy will never be the same," President Barrow whispered to Kral'Vox as the signing concluded. Later, in the Starbase Observation Lounge, Kral'Vox and Captain Steele shared drinks, a human beverage called whiskey that made the Admiral's throat burn and his head spin. "I still don't understand why Earth sent just one ship initially," Kral'Vox said. "It seems reckless." Steele grinned. "That was us being polite, Admiral. We didn't want to frighten you by showing up with the whole fleet." As they looked out at the stars, Kral'Vox had a sobering thought: the galaxy was incredibly fortunate that humans had come in peace, mostly.